There's been a recent breakthrough in mapping the heart activity as an expertise and a critical component for diagnosis and therapy during a particular rhythm. No, I'm not talking about cardiologists. I'm talking about retrospectives. Hi, I'm Chris Kwasny, and I'm here to talk about and deliver a retrospective tutorial about an exercise I've been referencing called heart mapping. Now, this particular retrospective suits a moderate level of trust in individuals and team. And what I mean by that is it tends to be more successful when there's higher vulnerability and lower formality in the particular group. So if it's brand new, you can give it a shot, but I'd probably want to make sure that people feel comfortable and willing to speak their truth. Otherwise, this can either fall short and not give you the biggest impact in service to the people, or it can even make people feel uncomfortable and push them a little bit further away if they're not ready. So you can be pretty explicit and open with the disclaimer, and generally teams, once you tell them what they're signing up for, they're willing to go for it. It's just you don't want to surprise anyone. So what is heart mapping? Heart mapping is a visual retrospective. It creates a map and a narrative by guiding individuals and teams towards self-awareness, trust, and shared truth. All right, this is not about personal attacks or criticism, and there's no wrong way to do this except to use harmful or disrespectful language. So as a facilitator, I am on double time explicit duty to manage any shame, blame, or harmful language, and I'll make another video on how I do that. So this visual activity is going to require your post-it notes and, some writing utensils and a big board, or if you're doing it virtually, some sort of whiteboarding software. But you need the ability for people to generate ideas and then interact with them. In person tends to be best, but in this virtual way of working, I've done it before and it works just fine. Make sure that you can keep people's attention, play some music, give breaks, don't overdo it. You're going to encourage people to speak about their feelings and their memories and experiences, what questions and doubts and secrets they may carry. And we're really trying to help them expose themselves to themselves and each other. It all starts with us. So let's go ahead and jump in. All right. Okay, so heart mapping, let's see, starts with, well, you guessed it, drawing a big heart on whatever whiteboard that you'll be using. Now, you want to make it big enough that it can hold, a few Post-its per person, so there is a bit of scale to it. And then you're going to draw a big line through the center. All right. And we're going to do this in a couple of different iterations, depending on the amount of time that you have. But you can adjust, whether it's a fast retro or a long retro. This one probably will take 30 minutes at a very minimum to an hour, to some breaks that can even go into an hour and a half if people are feeling really passionate and wanting to get into the details. But what's also cool about this retrospective is it builds in the whole action orientation, not only how we feel and what we identify as a team, but what we're going to do about it. So you draw this heart, and there are two sides drawn through this line, inside and outside of the heart. Now, the simplest way to approach it, in my opinion, is to start by just saying, hey, what makes your soul sing, right? These are things that make you super happy, that make you joyful, joy at work, that brings inspiration and aspiration to it. And on this thing, what makes your soul cry? What are the things that are soul crushing and just really painful and can even be hurtful or harmful that we're facing, right? We're going to say the things that we like, the things that we don't like. It's similar to hopes and concerns, or more of and less of, but we really want to help guide the participants to being very soul, heart, empathy related. So some questions you can do to start generating, like, hey, let's write some Post-it notes, is, what's important to you? What's good? What makes you joyful or not? What are you grateful for? What do you think is taken for granted? So you can do positive, negative on just about anything, but let them be creative and be honest. I'm really happy when people tell me the truth, or I'm really sad when people lie to me. Totally different stories, but pretty reciprocal in the fact of what it's referring to. What irritates the hell out of you? What do you enjoy? What do you avoid? What do you wish you could create? Just questions to keep that energy going, and don't overstay your welcome in either of these. Maybe a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, see how people are going. You're probably going to need a little bit more energy to be, first to post. And then once it gets going, we'll get all those post-its put up with all the great things on it on either side. Now, there's the next phase where you're going to pause and you're either going to read through them, or you're going to have, my favorite, each person read their own. You kind of have to balance. You can ask for volunteers. You can just pull them randomly. You can pull what you're most interested in as facilitator to bring you into the exercise while keeping that as much unbiased stance as possible. This one's really curious. Who wrote it? Let's get it started, right? And so you're going to cover what makes our souls sing and our souls cry. You're going to find any logical groupings, any things that are the same, stack them, simplify, make sure that it stays manageable. So phase one is getting everybody to talk about these things and start visualizing that story and narrative. Now, phase two, I'll put a little one here. Phase two is then to ask, okay, what can we do to amplify, get more of our soul singing and feeling good and joy? That's great. And what can we do to dampen and address some of these things? So this is very action oriented. Well, when this happens, does praise work, right? Is that something that when people tell me the truth, it makes me feel good, so I'd like to celebrate when people tell me hard truths? Or dampen, if you feel uncomfortable in telling the truth, how can we find other channels to bring that out rather than doing it publicly? You can create working agreements. There's a variety of ways to solve it, but either way, let the creativity of the group come out. How would you get more of this? How would you get less of that? Really facilitate their ownership throughout this activity. All right. So as you're going through that, there are a variety of variations. There are some variations that I've been messing with, and some can get a little bit more complex than others. So I recommend just stopping here and closing the retro with picking a few of the amplify, dampen, taking those and coalescing them around a particular action, like, again, working agreements, let's do this again, a hard conversation, or just accepting that this exercise has brought light to something that we can all share. And with that, we've raised our trust, we've expressed vulnerability without having too much formality. But I want to share two of the variations that I just really have fun with. So I'm going to grab, let's say, a bright green for variation 2. So I call this one the Grinch. So the Grinch variation is, once you get through the first phase, is to draw 2 more layers of heart on it, right? So the one that they've been working on is in the center. And then give a couple of rotations to move cards in and out. So then you can see what is more core to the heart of the team. This is really personal. It's really important. So we don't disrespect any individual, but we say as a team, we can vote and we can maybe get a certain number of moves, or we can get a certain number of time, or we can break out into small groups on either side. Just be creative to get engagement, but you want to get movement of things inward and outward. When we can have things move to the center, more in the core of the team, things to focus on. Things on the end, they might be stress, but they're less of the focus, right? So they're still important. They're still there. We don't throw any post-it notes away, but this helps weed out and do this more at scale. So I like the Grinch variation of having multiple hearts. The other variation, let's go ahead and grab maybe a bright blue. We'll do a bright red. Red, actually, that's a great place to start. This variation is getting into colors and energy and some of actually my yoga practice. So I'm going to use some of the chakra colors to describe, if I can get all the post-it notes or colored Sharpies. I love color, so I like to bring it in there, but you can assign meaning to color. So as an example, red could mean slow down. Slow down doesn't just mean you're going too fast. Slow down means maybe pay more attention to it. Orange. So orange could be creative stuff. This is where we need to have a bit more creativity. My soul is crushed when I pull a backlog item and it has no impact, no customer reason, no like, why are we doing this? And I'd really like to have more creative juice in our cards so that I can feel connected to why I'm doing this hard work or something like that. Yellow is aspirational, and I can fix this because I know it's a little hard to read. But yellow would be like really dream big. Like there's no limit to what you can aspire to. Right. Next comes green. Green is about healing. One of the most impactful times that I've done this, I was both a facilitator and a team member, and it came to the need of healing our manager. Our manager was really kind of getting beaten up, as things can go in transformation and bringing agility and change to different places. And this person did a great job at not necessarily protecting the team, but playing the role of both manager and leader and friend and peer. And I think really was just taking too much. And it took a bold, courageous person to say, hey, I think our manager's hurting, and I think we need to do some things to heal. Can we step up there? Can we provide more support? Have we even asked how they're feeling? So healing is something that's really near and dear to my heart. Let's see, blue. Blue's around communication. So how can we better communicate with ourselves, with each other? And there are a variety of other activities that I'll make some videos about communication styles, retros, or in the other events that you may have as a team. And so the last two being purple, purple around intuition. Intuition's a really fun one. I like the color purple, not only because it's royal and it's a great color, but because intuition, you don't have to know why. You don't have to defend your position. You can just say, I have this feeling. I have this inkling inside of me. There's a voice that I want to listen to. I can't back it up, but I want to put it out there. And making your intuition known, you can raise the consciousness of the overall group, which is the final color of white or violet at times. And I use that word consciousness, but I like it in the idea of leveling up. Like when everybody feels the same thing, when everybody's got that same juice, that same commitment, direction, that alignment, everyone's just really fired up that moment. You should go for that. That feeling of enlightenment. It doesn't last forever, right? It's a moment in time. And so you need to take advantage. So things that can elevate to a white or violet color, or pink maybe if you have it, would be something that I would pay extremely close attention to. All right, so heart mapping can be a critical diagnosis of the rhythm of a team. Again, not a cardiologist, but a retrospective. And it can be incredibly cathartic and powerful. And if you can do it well, it's a real superpower as a Scrum Master or Agile coach. And whether it's Spider-Man or Winston Churchill, for this one, I like to say, with great power comes great responsibility, because you're asking people to put it all out on the line. And so you got to make sure that it's a really safe place, that people really feel supported, and be aware it's a great time to go to lunch or gather and do something fun, because when you get this real, it takes a lot of energy and you need to go recharge. I don't recommend doing this before a hard day's work, because you're going to probably feel a little drained if it's happening for real. So my name is Chris Kwasny. This is the heart mapping tutorial, one of my favorite retrospective activities. I hope you try it and let me know how it goes in the comments. Please connect and follow on LinkedIn, and subscribe and hit that bell on YouTube to get the best content that I can provide to you around Agile coaching, Scrum mastery, facilitation, and all things superpowers.